Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Identity Insights by Indicio. I'm your host, Tim Spring, and today I'm joined by Indicio Enterprise Team Lead Mike Ebert, and he's here to discuss using verifiable credentials and more specifically proven through APIs. Thank you again for joining me today, Mike. For those who haven't seen you on the show before, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Mike Ebert. I've been with Indicio as the enterprise team lead for 3 years. I've been doing software development for about 20 across various industries. And I live in Idaho. I have 7 kids, and high-powered model rockets are my favorite hobby.
Awesome. Well, yeah, happy to have you here. In your own words, just to clarify what we're talking about, would you mind describing what an API is?
So an API is an application programming interface. And what that means in normal terms is that there's a standardized way for 2 software systems to communicate with each other, pass data back and forth, or trigger actions, things like that.
Perfect. So why would someone want to use an API in conjunction with proven or verifiable credentials?
So Proven and the API allows you to add verifiable credential or agent functionality to an existing system without having to rip and replace or massively update. Just with a few simple API calls that people are kind of familiar with how to make, at least with most software systems, then you can get your existing system to know how, or to be able to instruct an agent to do on its behalf, how to make an invitation so you can connect to other agents, how to issue a credential, or how to verify a credential. It's just kind of the easy button for getting agent functionality attached to what you already do.
All right, very cool. And would you mind kind of walking us through maybe how exactly that looks? Are there some use cases that you can show specifically what the API is doing?
Okay, so a good use case for explaining this is, let's say you've got an existing employee access or badging system, and you don't want to tear out and replace the whole thing, but you'd love to add verifiable credential flows to that particular system. So you can modify the existing system so that during the employee enrollment system, it can make some API calls. So let's say you have a new employee who comes and he wants to have a job. And so as one of the first steps in the process, your existing system can use the proven API to request an invitation. And then display that, the existing system can then display that invitation to the employee, and they'll scan it with the app on their phone. And now their phone is connected to the agent that can do credentials. The next step is the employer, verifies this person's training or certifications, degree or whatever, goes through the process of collecting information about the employee. And then when they're done with that process, the existing system can, enroll them in whatever ways it was already doing. But then it can also instruct Proven via that same API to issue them a credential, an employment credential that says, you work here, here's some information about you, here are your certifications and your permissions. And then after receiving that credential, maybe later on that day or at some other part of the company, they're going to access a secured area, they're going to access a sensitive system, or they're going to operate important machinery. And before they do that, the existing systems can say, or new systems can say, hey, employee, before you do this, we need to make sure that you are indeed employed here, that you've been certified, or that you have the proper access. And so that system can request an invitation and connect, and then request their credential, which the employee can then share. And after they share it and it's verified, the proven API can tell the existing systems, yeah, this person's good to go. Go ahead and let them do whatever important action it was. So that's an example of, you have systems for certifying employees and giving them badges and verifying that they are, in fact, allowed to do things. Those systems exist, but now you can do it with agents and credentials, software on your phone. And in a lot of cases, that's quicker and easier, and you could do it without replacing everything.
All right. No, that seems very big, especially right if you already have all these investments, you definitely don't want to be ripping everything out to try and start fresh. So very cool. So I know Indicio has a bunch of experience making verifiable credentials and all those kinds of systems. Have we been working with APIs very much? Do we have any customer examples that you might be able to pull from to say, here's what we've done and how?
Yeah, so one example that we can talk about publicly is our work with the Aruba government. Aruba runs an immigration website where you have to input information about your pending travel to Aruba, and they, verify and validate the information, and then they approve your travel and they issue you, a PDF that says, yep, you're good to travel here. Well, one of our recent projects with Aruba, we added verifiable credentials to the flow. So we worked with their website developer to train them on how the API works and help them write the calls so that the immigration website could, for those who chose the digital credential flow, they could connect to the agent that was working with the immigration website. Then they could provide their DTC or digital travel credential information to the website, so they didn't have to hand enter their passport details. Didn't have to worry about typos or taking all that time. And then after the immigration website verified all the details, then at the end, it issued a trusted traveler credential to that person's wallet so that they had both their existing PDF that was used for certain things, and then they also had a trusted traveler for the systems that could work with credentials. And eventually they may switch over from the PDF to solely digital credentials, but for now we augmented that existing system by helping their team use the API and get the integration up and running.
All right, very cool. So right, it sounds like this is, in addition to verifiable credentials, like another tool or piece that you would if not need, definitely want access to. Is there any additional costs or anything associated with using these APIs?
So there's a cost to writing the integration, with your existing software to use an API, but generally it's a net savings because by using that API and a proven agent, you're not having to learn about how to work with the agents or all the new protocols or encryption, et cetera. You don't have to learn or implement any of that. And so generally it's net positive, even though there's some additional work to do there. One of the downsides is that you can't fully customize the interaction with the agent software. You're kind of limited to what the API already does. But we've done a pretty good job at making the API flexible. You can get a lot done before you have to look at doing custom work to modify the API or the agent itself.
All right, that's cool and very very forward thinking of you. That's awesome. So when you're using Proven, and it looks like we are coming to the end here, so this will be the last question. But when using Proven, what advice would you have for customers that are considering APIs versus just using Proven on its own?
So if you're integrating with an existing system, you're almost certainly going to want to do the API. Because we mentioned that earlier, you don't want to make massive changes to the stuff that you already have. If you're building from the ground up, you have a few more options. You may be able to add all of the workflows that you need to Proven itself. But the best way to explore that is to give it a try. So we have some easy ways to get Proven up and running and kind of poke around and see how you want to handle things. So, and then we'd be happy to give advice on which route you should take if people are willing to, share what they're trying to do with us.
All right, awesome. Well, yeah, it looks like that is about our time for the day. If you are interested in learning a bit more about verifiable credential technology, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll continue to bring you some more educational content around that. If you have any questions or specific topics that you'd like for us to cover, go ahead and leave a comment below. We'll be sure to read and get back to you. And thank you again to you, Mike. If someone was interested in learning more just about this topic in general, is there anywhere that you would suggest they would look?
So for Proven in general, the best place to start is our website. And we also have some other identity insight videos that cover some Proven topics. For the APIs in specific, we're just putting some finishing touches on some new and updated documentation and examples there. So please reach out and we can, via our contact form, and we'll get you, the early copy and let you take a look.